Kind of getting in the mood now, man. We're getting ready to tap into the Wagner Wire. Gonna keep it fresh tonight. Gonna be real quick, just in time for the Toyota halftime show. While they're giving you highlights around the NFL, you're getting the fantasy highlights with me here. Thanks for joining us. It's the Wagner Wire. This is the NFL Fantasy Football Sunday recap. Thanks again. Yeah. How about this weekend, huh? A crazy weekend in fantasy football. Texans, where were you? I could have used you, man. Could have used you. Letting Kansas City just go all over the place. All over the place. Anyways, that's our little preview to the show tonight. Thank you for joining us on the Wagner Wire. My name's Adam Wagner. One of the co-hosts on the DFS Big Three show that can be found on Saturday and Sunday mornings at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, where we break down some Saturday college football, some NFL, Sunday game day. Right before that, the one on the Sunday is a little shorter. It's kind of just like a little recap, kind of like a little Sunday party, as I like to do it, as I like to call it. The Thursday show or the Wednesday night show that the DFS Big Three do, that's where we talk mostly about the NFL. But anyways, we're going to try and keep this short and sweet tonight. Run down what I call little studs and duds from the Wagner Wire. Hits and misses, who did hot, who did not. You put the lingo in yourself. Anyways, keep it fresh. Quarterback starting off. Man, I spoke to it a little bit before. The Texans couldn't stop him. Alex Smith going off, man, for 22 of 33 yards, 22 for 33 pass attempts, completed 22 times for 243 yards, 3 touchdowns. The guy was lights out, hitting Kelsey. Man, that's another tight end. Those are guys that might have been going off the charts thinking Gronkowski was going to put up magic numbers. Well, he did, but this other guy out here, Kelsey, Kansas City, doing it big too, man. That's appears to be Alex Smith's favorite target. Kelsey was also getting you 25 points on FanDuel, just hooking you up in those tournaments. He's catching 6 receptions for 104 yards, 2 touchdowns on the night, or on his little day, opening up the the NFL season for him. Kansas City did great, taking it to the Houston Texans. Can't wait to see what they do next week. Texans, J.J. Watt, real disappointing. I thought that defense was going to be, going to be lights out, but again, nothing. I think they even combined, they only pulled for 2 points the whole game. That's terrible. Some other duds going down the list. We had Joe Flacco. Not doing too hot, Joe. Joe Flacco, 2 points, 2.68. That's one of my big duds of the show. Anyways, back to quarterbacks. Quarterbacks studs. Tony Romo just going off on my Giants, man. Dallas pretty much gave the Giants the game the whole time. Let the Giants have the whole lead, 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter, and then bad clock management, and Tony Romo just money, just lights out, hitting Witten in that last closing seconds of the drive to seal the deal, which was great for me because I had Witten in most of my leagues. Witten got you 2 touchdowns the other night. Bittersweet, but Giants fans, I put a little tweet out there earlier. I don't know if you saw it, but it's Jack Nicholson from As Good as It Gets. You can also see it. I think it's The Life of Brian. One of the it's a John Cleese movie. The people that do like Monty Python and everything. It's like always look at the bright side of your life, man. That's what we got. We got next week. We still need some offense to come together out of that. Oh, God. Oh, that was horrible. I'm glad I didn't go to this Giants viewing party that I had met. Sorry about those tweets. Tweets coming in. Man. Yeah, people want to know why this Minnesota-San Francisco game is so awful. Well, I had Minnesota going. I had the return of Adrian Peterson just going off, but apparently that's not the case at all. He looks a little bit out of sync, maybe a little bit out of rhythm. I don't know why. I was telling everybody that he had fresh legs. I thought for sure he would just explode. But we had a whole nother second half to do. So, let's see to that. Hopefully he sticks in there. Romo, I spoke to him a little bit. He got you 24 points on FanDuel. The big shocker to me, though, was Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer just racking up 25 points on FanDuel, a quarterback that was priced very low. He was in most of the winning lineups on FanDuel that was taking it home. Allowed you to get a lot of awesome, talented players around you, especially in running backs, which brings me to a guy that I wish I would have had in my leagues, but for some reason was just real caught up on Doug Martin being a value play and Eddie Lacy. But speaking of Eddie Lacy, one last quarterback to get to the point. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is always the man out there on the field. He's the general. When I think of a quarterback, an NFL quarterback, it's Aaron Rodgers. He's the face of the NFL to me. If Peyton and Brady are passing on the torch, Aaron Rodgers is taking it. He's the shield. He wears the crest. In my book, put up 23 points on FanDuel, and it's kind of a modest day for Aaron Rodgers, if you ask me. Again, weapons. That offense is depleted, so to speak, a little bit with Cobb banged up. He got in the end zone, he found pay dirt, but he didn't really make too much of an impact. He opened it up for Jones. James Jones coming back over. He would spend a little bit of time with the G-men, and then I think he was released from Oakland before this. And then, again, a familiar target for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers using that to his advantage, and sure enough, hooking up with him twice, getting some pay dirt. He got you four receptions for 57 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's not bad. That's good. And I'm sure he was very low, not highly owned at all. Anyways, and I was speaking to this guy, Eddie Lacy, Aaron Rodgers' counterpart on there in the backfield. Eddie Lacy had a modest game as well. Lacy only put up 16 points, but his numbers, 85 yards with a touchdown, 2 catches, I think, for 14 yards. 2 touchdowns for 14 yards. Lacy just needs to get it going. He still looks in great shape. I mean, he's only, 15 yards from getting you a bonus 5 points. I don't know if you guys play a season play or traditional leagues or whatnot, like normal fantasy players do. That's how I got started. And before there was DFS, I did the traditional plays and or the traditional fantasy, and it was a fun time. It was pretty much the gestation of my fantasy career, which is I'll never forget. But anyways, it's got a sweet spot in my heart, and I really enjoy that. But So anyways, I don't know where I go with these little rants half the time. But so if he would have got 15 more points in my league, it's an extra 5 points for bonus. Depending on how your leagues are set up, I don't know. But it was just a little couple of tweaks here and there, and then Lacy's back on point. But Matt Forte, the guy on the other side of the field, looking at you from the other bench, this guy went off. 25 points on FanDuel, 141 yards, 141 yards touchdown, 5 receptions, 25 yards. This guy, I guess the offense goes through Matt Forte as usual. No big surprise there in Chicago. I thought Jay Cutler was going to have an awful game, not having Brandon Marshall, who he solely relied on most of his career. Alshon Jeffries is always, you never know if he's going to get in the mix or not. Nice reception by Mike Wallace. That's a nice little sleeper. We'll get to that in a bit. Sorry, I got to see the games going on. But anyhow, I just thought that, Matt Forte complimented Jay Cutler well. He was there for Cutler to do some nice dump off passes to him. Found some holes good, made a little one-cut moves, and got past the second wave. It looks like Forte can. Well, I'd say Forte would be able to do it on all occasions, but that's that Green Bay defense that it's not really, as strong as we'd like to think that it is. I had them in a lot of leagues because they were going up against Jay Cutler. I was betting on Jay Cutler's failure. Sorry, Jay. I just, track record, boss, track record. Anyways, moving on to running backs that were studs. Ivory, man, how about Ivory? Ivory for the Jets, just apparently he's in the league to make a statement, trying to say that he's, a powerhouse back. He should be up there with any perennial number one. He got you 22 and a half points. That's a nice little day, especially up there in New York country. I didn't think the Jets were going to be able to do much, anything on offense, especially with the debacle going on in the locker room, having people just getting chins broke and jaws broke. But again, they played the Browns. Browns have a decent defense. I didn't think that Ivory would be able to go off like he did against the Browns, but sure enough, made a bold statement. Yeah. And then we spoke to this guy a little earlier on, James Jones. Rodgers hooking back up with James Jones. Good find there. 4 catches, 51 yards, 2 touchdowns. Got it done. Plain and simple. It seemed like Rodgers was his only go-to guy was Jones on the field. Cobb looked like he was getting bracketed a lot for most of the game or from what I saw of the game. Lacey took a little bit to get started. That defense of Chicago played a lot better than I thought they would play. Coming off being tied second worst in the NFL last year. But no, they came out to play. They showed some moxie. They definitely were resilient and made Aaron Rodgers work for everything that he got. He definitely had a rough time coming off in the first part of the game. Moving on, spoke about the Texans' lack of defense showing up. Well, this guy, DeAndre Hopkins, he did show up for the Texans. Didn't really do much having the guy's slipping. I think it's Hoyer. Didn't do much having Hoyer down there throwing the ball to him in the first half or first 3 quarters. And then Mallett steps in. And then Hopkins goes off for 28 points. That's not a bad day on FanDuel. He didn't cost you an arm and a leg either. I don't have his price tag on what he did or what he was priced at. But I don't know if he can repeat this day in or week in, week out. It's a rough thing. He's going to have to rely on Mallett now. Mallett seems like he has a better arm. Seems like he has better command of that offense. Kind of saw this a little bit with Hoyer last year at Cleveland. Just they gave him enough rope to pretty much hang himself, and it's essentially what he's done here in Houston again. It's a shame. I think the guy's got potential, but it looks like it's Mallett's job to lose at this moment. But again, that's basically all you got out of that Houston game. Just real disappointing. I can't believe they just let the Chiefs go completely off on. I was expecting more from that Houston defense. Bulls on parade definitely was not. Look at Teddy B just airing it up here. That was the last play of the game. All right, that's going to take us to the half in San Francisco. Again, 7-0 San Francisco over Minnesota at the half. It's a really boring game. I was hoping that Adrian Peterson gets something going. Still nothing. We'll see. But I know he's heavily owned. I think he's 78% owned in a few contests of mine. So this is going to make a lot of people mad. I spoke. Let's move on to tight ends. Tight ends was topped them all. Besides Gronk, Gronk was in that Thursday night game. Not a lot of action going on. The Thursday night game wasn't in many contests unless you were in custom leagues and custom contests. But anyhow, Kelsey, I mentioned earlier, 25 points on FanDuel, 6 receptions, and 104 yards. The guy is just lights out, 2 touchdowns. Like I said, if Charles ain't doing it, Jamal Charles ain't doing it, it's Kelsey. Everybody knows it's coming, and still they can't stop it. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And it shows that's what Andy Reid's showing down there in Kansas City. Again, Alex Smith looking like this guy's just always proving people wrong. Even me still, I had him in one league. I've won with him the year I had him, actually. I've won with Alex Smith, Sage Rosenfels. I guess, yeah. That speaks testament to get a quarterback late. You can win a league with drafting a quarterback in the 8th round. It's all about the running backs and receivers. I'd say receivers now mostly, especially with the way the league's going, how they can just pretty much run hands free. I mean, anything after 5 yards, it's a flag. You know, real it's real crappy that the defense can't even like check them at all, man. So you're going to see big plays. You're going to see a lot of you're going to see a lot of over the top balls. You're going to see heavy performances or huge games by wide receivers, wide outs, especially now. There's a hit zone. You can only hit them from here to like the mid hip or whatever. You can't even hit them, Christ in the legs anymore, man. You get a flag. Anyways, Kelsey again, 2 touchdowns, 104 yards, 6 receptions, 25 points on FanDuel. But it's not as good as this guy, Eifert, catching the balls from the red rifle. Oh my goodness, out there in Oakland. Look at what was going on out there. 26 points. This dude was on fire. I could not get over. I'm sitting here thinking, oh, AJ Green, please, AJ Green. No, it's Eifert. Eifert's taking everything, which is so. It's funny. I had an extreme pleasure of going on to CBS Cleveland's 92. I guess it's a channel. It's a program that within CBS Cleveland. It's called 92.3 The Fan. It's the Man Cave show called The Man Cave there with Mike Cairns. Awesome time. Awesome, 15-minute segment talking fantasy football about my previews, guys I thought were going to do well. Missed on two big ones. Doug Martin, yeah, that was awful. That was a dud. We'll get to that. But anyhow, spoke a little bit about this, on CBS Cleveland about Zach Eifert. He asked, I spoke about Dalton, and Mike Cairns asked me, he goes, "Hey, is Eifert in play?" I said, "Yeah, Mike, Eifert is in play, but I didn't even go over any stats about Eifert." So Mike Cairns probably knew all along. He probably, just giving me a little bit of spot on the show just to say thanks or whatever for something. But anyways, Mike, thank you. I mean, you knew about Eifert there before I even had to go into it. So, it's really cool when you ask to get get a little bit of advice here and there from a fan or whatnot, or from a friend, and both of you guys are eye and eye on something already. Oh, why you like that? Oh, because of this. Oh, yeah, exactly. That's exactly why. It must be consensus. So that really assures your pick. If you have any doubts, and often I never really have any doubts, which is why I win a lot. Anyways, moving on. How about this guy, Austin Seferian Jenkins? I'm putting up 25.5 points. I mean, that was a sleeper there. Who knew about that guy? I did not have him on my radar. Did not think that Tennessee was going to do much of anything. I actually thought Tampa Bay was going to roll Tennessee. I thought it was going to be a Doug day. Me and my other 2 co-hosts from the DFS Big 3 show also thought so as well. Al Walsh and Nick Rodriguez. Yep, we all had him. It was a consensus Doug Martin across the board. We thought it was going to be a Doug day. And again, this guy, the other tight end, Jason Witten, always hurting the Giants, man. Giants can't cover tight ends. Giants can't cover anybody across the middle. You saw all last night, crossing routes, going horizontal, going across that field, trying to get the linebackers to cover mismatches on the running backs. Anytime a linebacker tries to cover Jason Witten, it's still a mismatch. The guy knows how to find the no zone, which is that little pocket right there behind the hook to curl routes where the linebackers like to sit. Quarterback, if the linebackers don't get enough depth, quarterback can drop it right over there, and Jason Witten seems to find that as well. He also just seems to rotate and move with the defense. If the defense is spying and moving on Romo, Witten goes back to the ball and moves and finds the defensive shifts and creates a good target for Romo as well. He's just a veteran. Those 2 have been doing it for a while now, and it's still showing there on the Giants, or it's still showing there courtesy of the Giants. Giants just getting whooped around last night. Just money. Romo was just money, dude. And everybody's been saying this too. I don't like to give Romo his due just because I can't stand the Cowboys. Sorry, Cowboy fans. People love to hate you. You know what T.O. has been saying it. You might hate me or whatever, but he loves him or whatever. I love me some me or whatnot. Anyways, people love to hate Cowboy fans, or not the Cowboy fans. People love to hate the Cowboys, man. It's just because they're that good. I really think it doesn't matter what running back you put there behind that offensive line of the Cowboys. They're brutal, and they showed you how much they dominated the game last night against the Giants. Witten, we spoke about. A guy, Dez Bryant, dud. He went down last night. He only got 7 points, 7 points or so on FanDuel. But a guy, speaking of which, sleeper that's coming up, Terrence Williams showed me a lot last night from that Giants Dallas game. Romo seems to find him frequently, especially with Dez in the game. Look for Williams to step it up in these next couple of weeks with Dez Bryant out with that broken foot or broken bone in his foot. Kicker, we'll give you one kicker, Josh Brown. That's about the only good thing Giants had going on. Josh Brown got 17 points last night on FanDuel, kicking the ball up through the uprights in Dallas in AT&T Stadium. Anyways, back to the duds. We already mentioned Flacco getting the 2 points. Way to go, Joe. Looking great, buddy. Looking great. Joe, maybe you should grow that Fu Manchu. What do you think, Joe? There was rumors. Me being a Baltimore guy, there was rumors that Joe Flacco lived with his mother up until like the age of 24. Now, I cannot deny or confirm that. But they always used to say, like, it's kind of like custom or whatever for Italian young men that don't have, maybe a significant other, a woman to cook them a meal or whatnot, to live and live with mom or whatever until they find a woman. I don't know how. It sounds pretty damn chauvinistic to me, but I don't know how truth that is or how true it is or whatnot. But I've heard it time and time before, man. I'm gonna have to definitely check the sources. But anyways, how about you? If you're watching that, tweet at me. Tell me what the hell it is, and give me some education here. Give me some education. Educate me. All right, another Manning. Oh my. I was really big on Peyton Manning. I thought Peyton Manning was going to have a nice day against Baltimore. Baltimore being not the defense that they used to be. I think they were. I think my stats showed that they were ninth worst in the NFL. I just thought Manning was going to be able to rip it up. I hate to doubt Manning, but it might be the end of the road for Peyton. Al and I were talking back and forth. He just did not have the arm strength. The balls couldn't get to the target. You've heard a few, NFL analysts comment on it earlier today. It's like he's throwing to a spot on the field and not throwing people open anymore. This guy used to dictate where he wanted the defense to go. He used to be able to navigate his wide receivers through the defense just based off where he was putting the ball. So I don't see that anymore. I'd hate to see a guy like this go out on a bad. I don't want to see it go out ugly. I'd like to see Peyton salvage it, get to the playoffs or whatever, and then say bye. But I don't know. I just think we're coming to the end of the road. Anyways, he only got you 5.9 points in FanDuel. So you paid a nice pretty penny at like $9,300, I think, was his price on FanDuel. Owners are mad up there in Mile High. Drink this water. Frank Gore. Here's a guy I thought. I spoke earlier on Thursday's show. I thought Frank Gore was just going to have a nice game. Colts were real disappointing too. We'll speak to that a little bit after this. I thought Frank Gore was going to have a brilliant game, being able to rip up Buffalo. I thought Buffalo's defense were solid, but in the addition to Rex Ryan, I didn't think they were going to be lights out the way they were. It's Rex ball already up in Buffalo, and they are for real. The Buffalo Bills are for real. I couldn't believe that. I thought the Indianapolis Colts. Baltimore Colts. I thought the Indianapolis Colts would be able to just rip right through them, but that wasn't the case. Andrew Luck, I mentioned not trying to do these little zingers or whatnot. I was like, he wasn't going to need any luck at all. Well, he was awful. He wasn't. He just wasn't Andrew Luck. He wasn't what I thought he was going to be. Anyways, Frank Gore only got 4.1 points on FanDuel. Not what you want to see out of Frank Gore out of the first day. I thought for sure the new additions of the Indianapolis Colts would be able to open pockets up for T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton, huge injury. He's gone for a while. Can Andre Johnson step up and be the number one in Indianapolis? I don't know. He didn't do much. He didn't do much yesterday. As a matter of fact, he's one of my duds. He's got 4 points on FanDuel, which is just appalling. Especially when I'm sitting here giving him so much props. I just think these guys, they still have the potential to go off and provide huge numbers, especially at the value that they were listed at for their price tag. Dez, or I'm sorry, before we get into wide receivers, I skipped one. Doug. I thought it was going to be Doug Martin Day, man, but Doug 5.9 points against Tennessee. Doug couldn't really get going. Before you blinked, it was 21-0. Tennessee over Tampa Bay, which is going to put Tampa Bay in throwing mode. Doug's not going to be able to get those wheels moving. Don't give up on Doug, fantasy owners. If you guys are out there and you got him in traditional leagues, keep him. Definitely don't sell. Don't drop him by any means. God, don't drop him. Keep Doug Martin. He just couldn't get it going. Just flukes. I'm gonna say flukes all around the NFL first week. You tend to see that first week. Not many people got their shit together. I'll say it. As you can see here, Adrian Peterson for the Minnesota Vikings, I thought for sure he'd be going off, but yeah, nothing. Still nothing. Moving on. All right, Dez Bryant, we mentioned 7.3 points on FanDuel. Another injury there. Big loss for Dallas. Look for Terrence Williams to step in and fill that role nicely. Go out and get him on the waiver wire if you can't get that, or if you haven't yet. He's out there. He's available. OBJ. God. OBJ, if you got OBJ in your lineup, which I had in one of my lineups, you were pretty disappointed. One of the highest paid, I think, right underneath Julio Jones, and there goes Adrian Peterson, Is seeing a little bit of vintage flashes. Oh my goodness, that's what I've been waiting on. Once this guy gets going, it's over. But anyways, OBJ, I think he was right underneath the Julio Jones at 97,000, or I'm sorry, 9,700. Which put up nothing. He put 6.9 points. Giants couldn't get anything going. They were just off. They were awful on every aspect of the game except for special teams, kicking. Josh Brown did great. Other than that, I can't give you any props, man. G-Man, it's ugly. It's ugly. We need to tighten up. We need to tighten that up. Megatron, or Andre Johnson, we spoke to 4 points up there against the Bills. I don't know if he and Andrew Luck haven't had the connection yet or hadn't had the time, but they should be by now. They should be clicking on at least something. Nothing's going on, at least nothing that they showed me up in Buffalo. Again, it's Rex ball, man. Rex Ryan knows how to do defense. He knows how to find mismatches. He knows how to break down offensive pass schemes. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get nothing but pain, nothing but hassle when you play a Rex Ryan defense. A lot of people don't realize the guy wins. He did great things with Baltimore's defense when he was a defense coordinator. He's got a track record for doing defense. Not so much offense, but defense, and that's what Rex does. That defense for Buffalo looked great. Can't wait to see what's going on next week with them. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. Megatron. Oh, Megatron, man, I don't get it. I still, this guy is the biggest wide receiver in the league. Still, he got 4.9 points on FanDuel. Not doing well for you there. Big target for Stafford. You think Stafford would be able to hit this guy? Then nothing. Nothing out of Megatron. I'm not writing Megatron off yet. Anybody that does that, you're insane. Like I said, the guy's he's just a specimen. Huge specimen, freak of nature. It's something that you got to take in consideration that might just, be off week one. It's always the off week, right? That's what we like to say most of the time. We'll see. Give it another week. Ride it out. If Megatron's priced a little low this week, we'll talk about it Wednesday night on the DFS Big Three show, or the Big Three DFS show. Oh, getting a little tired, man. Yeah, we'll speak to it a little bit on the Wednesday evening show for the DFS Big Three, or the Big Three DFS show. We'll do it again. All right, Big Three DFS show, Big Three DFS show, Big Three DFS show. Yeah, Megatron 4.9 points. He's got to get big for Stafford. These two just got to start hitting it. There's no way around it. And the stud, or the dud of all duds. I tried to tell my friends this. They were all big on Olsen. Greg Olsen got you 1.6 points on FanDuel. Why? Because he was bracketed. He was bracketed almost every play. You had a spy on Cam, and Jonathan Stewart wasn't breaking anything open. So what's going to happen? You're going to have double teams all on Olsen. If he's your only threat and he's going to get most of the targets, you're going to put most of your effort there to cover him. Why? Don't pick somebody that doesn't have any potential around them to take some of the pressure off of him. I don't know how OBJ did it last year with Cruz only back for like one game. You know what I'm saying? One game. Cruz still ain't even there now. I mean, I'd like to stop doing the salsa dance and get the hell on the field and let's do this thing. Anyhow, yeah, Olsen, he was bracketed most of the game. Had two people on him. The guy's a stud, but, he's a dud this week. That's for sure. 1.6, can't have that, Greg. Anyways, that's 2 minutes over the 30 minutes. The game has been on for a while. I'd like to watch Adrian run. Thanks again for joining us. We'd like to thank like to thank the CBS Cleveland crew. That was a really fun time being on there. Can't wait to get back on there again with Mike Cairns and the 92.3 The Fan. Just a really fun time. I mean, talking Cleveland football. Anytime you want to talk football, man, I'm down. Don't threaten me with a good time. Anyways, you know where you can find me at on Twitter at the Wagner Wire. You can find me at www.thewagnerwire.com, where fantasy sports grinders become fantasy sports champions. And also, you can find me on the Big Three DFS show, Wednesday nights for football, and then Saturday and Sunday at 11 o'clock Eastern time. Wednesday nights is still subject to change. We have the three of us, have tentative schedules. We got a lot going on, making some adjustments on the fly. We got some cool things coming up. We got some nice, really awesome ideas coming up involving some local partner restaurants, trying to see if we can do some live shows in the restaurants that are co-located in regions brought near Al, Nick, and myself. So, again, thanks again for tuning into the Wagner Wire. We'll see you next week with Week 2's NFL Fantasy Football Sunday recap. So, that being said, we just want to leave you with a few more jams coming out. Music today was brought to you, by iTunes. It's brought to you by that's where the hell I got it. But in case you're wondering what this is, get you in a nice little mood there, back in the meta state, getting ready to go to sleep, or watch Heroes. I've been watching Heroes, getting ready for Heroes Reborn. That's always a fun time. It's always a fun time talking to you. I can never get off the air, man. I just always want to talk. Talk. Anyways, this is Traffic, Dear Mr. Fantasy. Check it out. Thanks again for joining us. See you next week. See you in a few days.